Hey guys, back with another video. Now this video is going to be a games I've been playing recently video. I haven't done one of these since I think like near the beginning of my channel. It was like one of my first videos was games I've been playing. And the reason why I don't do these types of videos is because I generally play one or two games at once. Most of the time it's one game. That's just kind of been my personal preference since way back in like the 64 and PS1 days. But I recently got a gaming PC, and I'm going to do another video soon, PC gaming memories video, because for this next generation, I think I'll probably talk about that in that video. I might as well talk about it now. This next generation that's coming up, the PS4, Xbox One, Wii U. I am going to buy a Wii U eventually, just not now. I think I'm just going to go with a PC gaming route for this next generation. A PS4, when it gets more RPGs, I'll probably pick one up. But for now, I think all the games that are coming out this next generation, I'm just gonna play on the gaming PC I just got. And one of the reasons why I got a gaming PC was for Steam. The Steam sales are so hard to resist, and there's so many great deals on that, and there's so many different cool indie games on the PC that I've been wanting to play that I think at this point it was a no-brainer for me. So this video is basically talking about all the games I've been recently playing on that. I've been playing a bunch of just of like quick pick up and play type games on the PC, and none of these games I'm mentioning I've beaten except for no, I don't think I've beaten any of these games yet. So it's just quick impressions video on not videos but impressions on all these games I've been playing, and there's actually quite a few of them. Will I finish any of them? I don't know. I'm probably not going to do a video on any of these types of games. It's probably going to be a while since I do another games I've been playing video, but let's start things off with Bastion, which I want to thank the Leggy Gamer, Steven. He sent me a code for this on Steam. And Bastion is a game I've been wanting to play for quite a long time. I played the demo like way back when. I really enjoyed it, but I just never got around to finally playing it. And it's a really nice looking game. I love the visual style. I love the narration. The hook with this game is that it's constantly being narrated as you're playing, and it's really the storyline's kind of neat. It's nothing too complex, but it's definitely kind of cool. Soundtrack is really quite something. I really love the soundtrack. The gameplay is very Diablo-ish. You get a bunch of different weapons. You can upgrade them. It's got a bit of hack and slash elements. You've got ranged weapons you can use too, and it's pretty fun. It's simple, but it's fairly fun. Where I am at in the game though, it's starting to get a bit stale. I find the gameplay is kind of starting to get repetitive, and the enemies towards the end of the game have really annoying attack patterns. Like they're constantly block your shots. The poison damage is everywhere towards the end of the game. I don't know, I'm finding myself having a bit less fun towards the end, but overall I think it's a very good game. But yeah, Bastion's quite a lot of fun. I am enjoying that quite a bit. The next game I've been playing is another game Steven hooked me up with, and that's FTL, Faster Than Light, which is another game I've been wanting to play for a long time, and the PC exclusivity. Although I think it might have been on Mac and Linux, I'm not sure. But this game's I've been wanting to play for a while. It's kind of like it's an odd game. There's nothing I've played that quite like it. It's like a spaceship sim mixed with like a roguelike. You're basically moving past sectors. Actually, you know what? This game is very hard to explain in a quick thing. There might be a demo of it, so you can check it out. A lot of people probably already know what it's like because it came out last year, I believe. And I'm having a ton of fun with this game. It's very difficult. There's an easy and normal mode, but they're both extremely difficult. The sixth sector is like the farthest I've gotten. But you have like your crew on a ship, and you're kind of going throughout these sectors, and you're just like finding other ships to destroy, and you're getting scrap and fuel, and you're upgrading your ship, you're upgrading your crew, and you're trying to get as far as you possibly can without dying. When you die, you have to start all over. You can unlock different ships. I've only unlocked the Engi ship. And that's it. It plays quite a bit differently than the standard ship you start off with. There's a lot of different options available to you in terms of upgrading. A lot of variety in that regard. So each playthrough is going to be completely different from your last, and the high level of difficulty is going to keep you coming back for more. I'm pretty addicted to the game at this point. I don't see myself ever beating it. I mean, this game is tough. But it's I don't know. It's one of those games that I'm not really into roguelikes that much. But when you have something unique like this with the whole space aspect, it's definitely nifty. Visually, it's quite simple. It's a very simple game. I think it had a Kickstarter actually before it finally got released to Steam. But definitely, I'm having a ton of fun with this game. Definitely check it out. FTL. Next game, Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition. I got this in the Humble Bundle Retro Shooters Edition. And this is a game, of course, I played this way back in the day. A classic first-person shooter. I haven't played it for a long time, so a lot of it is kind of weird to me. It's really fun. I think the interesting thing about it, though, is how you could aim up and down. I think that was a new thing with Duke Nukem. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too big on first-person shooters, so I don't know a lot of the history with them. But the level design in this game is definitely dated. It's extremely maze-like, tons of switches to pull, and it's very hard to know where you're supposed to go. The enemies completely rip you apart too. It's a very difficult game. I'm not sure if the level design has really stood the test of time. But Duke Nukem is just such a classic character, and it's such a classic game. I'm having a bit of fun with it. I don't think I'm going to play it much longer, though. But still, it's a nice blast from the past. Next is another first-person shooter, Hard Reset, also in the Retro Shooters Humble Bundle, which I gotta say, these Humble Bundles are awesome. Really cheap and really great games. I can't wait to see the next ones. I'm always excited for when they come out now. Hard Reset. It's a pretty solid first-person shooter. The story is complete nonsense. I don't even know what it's about. I don't really care anyways. It's one of those really old-school kind of first-person shooters in terms of level design. There's some light puzzle solving where you gotta blow up an explosive barrel to break through a wall or deactivate electric gates. It's very simple stuff, but it looks great. It's a great game to test out my PC, actually, on max settings. On a technical level, it's quite good, stunning to look at. Unfortunately, the gameplay is kind of boring. You're basically just kind of shooting robots with, the weapon selection is kind of cool from what I've seen so far, but I don't know, fighting robots to me is just not that satisfying. It kind of gets old really fast. And I think part of that is my general lack of interest in first-person shooters in the past few years. It was actually one of my favorite genres long ago, but now I'm starting to kind of get bored with them. I think I'm going to do actually a top 10 first-person shooters video soon, but I think I'm probably done with Hard Reset. I only put probably an hour into it. I didn't play it much. I got bored pretty quickly, I got to admit. Next game is Binding of Isaac from the developers of Super Meat Boy, which was one of my favorite games the year it came out. I don't remember, 2010 maybe? I think it was my favorite game that year. One of my favorite games this generation, really. Probably, I'd consider it the best platformer this generation. So I was really excited to play this. This game's a roguelike. Not really my favorite, not really my cup of tea, these types of games, but as far as the roguelikes go, this is a pretty good one. The storyline's very interesting. It's got a religious theme to it, which is kind of neat. You play this little, I think you're a baby or a kid or something, Isaac, and your mother watches these Christian broadcasts, and then God tells her that your son Isaac is possessed by the devil or something. It's ridiculous, over the top kind of storyline, but it's very simple and it's not too intrusive. There's not really all that much of it. It's got that Super Meat Boy charm and humor to it. The game almost plays like Zelda, the original Zelda, how you go from room to room and how it shows the map. But it's plays like a twin stick shooter. The room layout's a lot like Zelda. They're randomly generated. You shoot with the right stick. At least because I played with this game with a controller, not a keyboard and mouse. Aim with the right stick or the Y, X, A, and B buttons, and then move with your analog stick. And you play it like a twin stick shooter. You can get different weapons and coins and stuff, and buy things in these dungeons. When you die, you start all the way from the beginning floor again, which I haven't played enough of this game to know the nuances of it. I don't know what carries over. Every time I've played, nothing's carried over. But I don't know. I'm having fun with it, even though this isn't really my type of game. The bosses are definitely interesting. It's kind of a gross game. There's weird disgusting gore and stuff in this game. It definitely has a interesting style to it. That's for sure, and it can be fun. I don't know, this kind of genre of roguelikes aren't really my style, but I don't know how long I'll keep playing it, but it's definitely a decent game. Next game I've been playing is La Mulana. This is a game I've always wanted to play. Some of my friends have said this is an amazing game. What this is like an old school 16-bit style retro Metroidvania type game. You're this explorer that has to explore the ruins of La Mulana. This game I was kind of disappointed in, I'll admit. And it's more because it's not my style. I was expecting something along the lines of Symphony of the Night, maybe, that's got a pretty big focus on combat. And this game's got the maze-like environments that game does. Although actually even more maze-like in this game with multiple routes you can take. But this game's got a very heavy emphasis on puzzles, and a lot of them, from what I've played, were extremely obtuse and just not that fun. And the combat is very simple. You just have your whip in the beginning. I'm sure later it probably gets better, but it's very simple. The controls have like a stiff feeling to them, especially when you're jumping, that I found very frustrating. The enemies, I don't know, are kind of annoying too. I just found myself very annoyed playing this game, which is a shame because the music in this game is phenomenal. It's so damn catchy and upbeat. The first song that plays immediately when you start the game is just, oh, it's so good. I wish I liked this game more. I put about 4 hours into it. I don't know if I can take any more. It's a very frustrating game. I think if it was more focused on combat, I might like it more, but the puzzles just kind of wear me out after a while. It's a very obtuse game. It's very difficult. I don't know, just not for me, I don't think. Next game, Rogue Legacy. This is actually a 2013 release. And I had heard good things about this game from some of my friends, and it was on sale recently, so I took the plunge, I bought it, and boy, am I glad I did. This is going to make my top games of the year list, believe it or not. This is another roguelike type game, but this is more to my style. It's got like a 16-bit style to it that's very visually appealing. The interesting thing about this game is you're basically exploring this castle. It's almost got a Metroidvania vibe, but not quite. It's divided into 4 different areas. Each area has a boss. Once you defeat all 4 bosses, the final boss opens up right in the beginning of the castle, and that's how you beat the game. And basically, you play this knight who dies in the beginning of the game, and you play one of 3 of his children, or grandchildren, I think, as a part of that person's legacy. And they can have different traits and classes, and you choose one of the 3. So they could be like a warrior or like a mage. Each character has a magic skill. The mages have more mana. Your stats are dependent on your classes and whatnot. But the traits are what makes this game interesting because they're very humorous in nature. One of them might have you might have a disease where your character has a disease where the game's upside down. You're walking on the ceilings. Another, you might be tiny, like a dwarfism. You're tiny. Another is like you're massive. Extra speed, colorblind, where the game turns black and white. There's all these neat little effects that happen depending on what traits you have, and it's really hilarious. It's really neat, and you basically, it's a roguelike in the sense that when you die, you have to do it all over again. You collect money though through every time you play, and once you die, you can kind of upgrade in a skill tree type deal. You can get different things with your coins and stuff like that. So your character's constantly leveling up. There's a nice sense of progress, which I really love. You can get weapons, you can get armor, but the thing is, you got to spend your money every time before you enter the castle because there's a gatekeeper that will take all your money. You can actually get upgrades to reduce his cost, but so you really, every time you play, the game's encouraging you to spend that money. So sometimes you might not get enough money to get an upgrade, especially later towards the game, so it gets a bit more frustrating the more you play it, but in the beginning hours, you never feel like you're wasting your time, which is good, I feel like a lot of roguelikes kind of do waste my time. Not with this game. And once one boss is killed in the castle, it's killed for good, so that's really nice. The enemies, there's not too much of an enemy variety, but what's there is nice. Their attack patterns are crazy. It's a brutally difficult game. I'll admit that. And some of the traits you get can be a bit unfair. You can have a really crappy selection of characters sometimes. And there's a lot of attack patterns that are hard to avoid in this game. But the controls are super tight, super easy. Jumping works perfectly. You can get double jumps. You can get dashes. You can get runes that you can equip on your character. There's just a lot to this game. There's a surprising amount of depth that I wasn't expecting, and it's very addictive. Like, I couldn't stop playing this game. It's getting to the point where it's almost getting too difficult. I've killed the first 2 bosses, but getting to that 3rd boss, I've only gotten to him a few times, and it's just because the enemies in that 3rd area are really tough. So I just got to keep, I guess, chipping at it. It's a good game to pick up and play too. It's not, you don't have to play this game for hours on end, although you might find yourself playing it for hours on end because it's just so damn addictive. But yeah, I'm really loving Rogue Legacy. It's actually a Canadian-made game, I think by 2 guys in Toronto, which is insane to think about. But, you know, one of those examples of why I'm really loving the indie game scene recently. A fantastic game. Definitely check it out. It's not on sale right now, unfortunately, but it'll probably go on sale again. There's Mac and Linux versions coming out for it too. I definitely gotta highly recommend Rogue Legacy. And one of the games I missed a few years ago, I think it was last year? Yeah, I think last year, that I really wanted to play and never got the chance to, and finally have, Hotline Miami. Man, is this game fun. A very brutally violent, brutally difficult game. It's kind of like it plays like a dual shooter, kind of, but you gotta get up close and melee enemies a lot of the times. A lot of the time, guns don't have an extreme amount of ammo. This game, it's got this excellent style to it. It's very hard to describe, but like the music is very pulsating and almost techno in a way, but it really fits the mood of the game. Like the mood and style this game creates is really quite something. It's a really excellent game, I gotta say. It's one of those games that's really addictive too. Going through rooms, clearing out enemies. The AI is extremely aggressive. Like, you have to plan your attacks accordingly. You have to use some stealth elements too. You have to know exactly how you're going to take out a room of enemies, and you got to know where enemies are exactly in these rooms, because as soon as you go in, if you don't do things as quick as possible and the way you've planned it, enemies will just kill you in seconds. It's a really satisfying game when you kill people in this game too. I don't know, it's a really just a satisfying, fun game to play. I'm getting to the point where it's like, it's getting so damn difficult, but at the same time, I can't help, I keep coming back to it. I don't know, it's just a really fun game. It would have made my Game of the Year list probably if I played it last year, but oh well, it's good that I'm finally getting around to it, especially because they're doing a sequel now. But yeah, I'm really loving Hotline Miami. And finally, last but not least, System Shock 2. Now, oh man, this game. I've been wanting to play this game for years. I never played it back in the day, and ever since BioShock came out, the BioShock trilogy, I've always wanted to go back to this game. But I didn't have a way to play it. And now that it's on Steam, as a part of that Retro Shooters bundle, when that came up, I knew I had to get it. This was my chance to finally play this game. Now that I had a gaming PC, and it's on sale in a Humble Bundle. And of course, I heard great things about this game, but I was worried whether it would hold up or not after all these years. And, boy, man, did it hold up. I might just like this better than BioShock. This game is stunning, way ahead of its time. I'm impressed at how ambitious this game is. It's got a really cool storyline. I love the storyline. I love anything to do with like a ship that you've got to explore. You have to find out what happened on the ship because things went wrong. I love that anything to do with that kind of thing, and that's what you get here. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but you definitely you find out the story not through cutscenes or anything like that, but through audio logs, like with BioShock, and I love that stories that are told that way. This game is incredibly atmospheric too. This ship is a pretty creepy place. It's got a good scare factor too, this game, because the enemies are super aggressive. The AI is actually fairly smart, and they do a shit ton of damage. This game is hard. It's back when games had some difficulty to them. But there's so many different RPG elements I wasn't expecting. It's more of an RPG than BioShock was. There's like you can get cyber modules, and you can put them into so many different stats: strength, agility, endurance, and each stat covers different aspects. You can put it into this psi points, where you can have this like psi weapon where it can have different powers that you can use, and you use up psi points. Of course, you've got your standard health. You've got standard weapons like grenade launchers, pistols, shotguns. You can upgrade them, modify them, repair them. there's just so many different ways to play this game that it provides so much replay value. For my first run through, I'm going with like kind of like a your standard offensive build with weapons, and it's definitely giving me a challenge. I definitely want to try the psi stuff. I just don't want to put too much points into that if I or cyber modules into that if I'm not going to use it that much, and I haven't been really using it that much through the game. I don't really want to explain too much about this game, but it's just I'm loving it so much. There are some things I'm not liking about it, and that has to do with some of its data design. First off, this game is a maze. This ship is an absolute maze, especially later in the game. There's so many ways to go that it gets pretty confusing at times. You can really lose your way. Even though there's a very helpful mini-map and map system, you can set waypoints and things like that. I do find myself getting lost quite often. And the only other thing I dislike is the weapon degradation system, where weapons conditions can start off like excellent, and then they'll go like very good, good, fair, and then they'll eventually break. But when you repair your weapons with the repair skill, it goes back to like a poor condition rather than an excellent condition. So you have to deal with maintenance and repairs, and it gets kind of annoying because weapons break really fast in this game. So you got to keep putting cyber modules into those points. That does kind of bother me. It's really kind of a system that makes the game not very fun at times. It's also so hard that I gotta like quick save, quick load constantly throughout this game. But oh man, so far I'm enjoying this game immensely. Like I'm shocked at how well this game holds up. And of all these games I've mentioned, it's definitely my favorite out of them. If you haven't played System Shock 2 and you like the BioShock games, please go out and play this game. It's awesome. I really love this game. Anyways, that's it, guys. I know a lot of games I covered there, but I don't know. It's just a bunch of games I wanted to play, and a lot of them are very like quick pick up and play type games. As far as I'm going to continue playing any of them, FTL for sure, System Shock 2, I got to finish that game up, and Rogue Legacy I'm going to try. Those are the three. Those are the three of my favorites out of this lot. In terms of after PC, what I'm going to be playing next, I think The World Ends With You. I think I'm finally going to start up that game on the DS. I've been resisting it for too long, since in terms of 2013 releases, not much coming up that I want to play. Rayman Legends is probably the one game right now that I really would like to play. Origins was one of my favorite games in 2011. I think that's when that game came out. Another game is actually another PC game, Gone Home. That game sounds awesome. It sounds right up my alley. $20 is a bit steep, I think, for that type of game, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time resisting. I might be playing that game soon. And of course we got Watch Dogs later towards the end of the year. I think Pokemon X and Y, the new Zelda on the 3DS. There's still some great games coming along. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. Actually, well, one thing. Actually, if you want to add me on Steam, it's the same as my YouTube name, just not with the 1 in it, Ultimate Floyd. So you can go ahead and add me on there. I'm not much of a multiplayer guy, so I doubt I'll be playing any multiplayer, but if you want to add me, that's fine. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.